Hey guys, it's October 5th, and yeah, this is a day for shooting hauls since I am quite behind. Yeah. Anywho, goodness, something I really wanted to get out. What is this, October? I really wanted to get it out in August, but I don't know. Time just got by me. So something that I want to share is this is a resource haul that I do with the kids, and I keep talking about it, and I'm just gonna have to sit down and actually do it. Working on centers, we do center activities rather than Workbox system. Although the kids will sometimes say work boxes, but a great resource for that is learning centers. Okay, and they have them based in different grade levels and things like that. And a lot of the activities I put out for them are things that I've done with the older kids when they were younger, or with child care. Things that I just know. Sometimes I seek other resources, and so I have two books here that I acquired over the summer. And this is the first one that's put out by Carson. But it gives you preparation for learning centers, movement in between centers, development of activities and finding materials, number of students at each center, furniture and arrangement of the room month by month. Now, yes, it is geared for the public school setting, but of course you can modify everything. So, and most of our centers, we do have a lot of things that, the kids do independently, but it's set up for them to work together. And that's one of the things, the reason why we don't do a Workbox system is because I don't want them isolated. But I'll get into that. So, it talks about what are centers and how to plan them and what types of centers. So there's the reading center, the writing center, the home living center, block center, science center, math center, and art and other centers. And then you have the month by month materials and activities. You have themed activities. And then there's problem solving, additional ideas and materials. And when I made my lesson plan, you guys watched the lesson plan for multiple children, I had already pulled out center activities and incorporated that into my lesson plan. So we don't necessarily do, I don't theme everything by month. It just depends, or by week. It just depends on when I want to do it, as long as I have it down on paper. Basically design when you want your center. Some people choose them early in the morning. Usually they're 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes they're in the evening when I'm cooking dinner. So that gives me time to, do what I need to do. And they are contained. But here's a neat little map of how you can set things up. Cool design. The arrangement of the room really does make a big difference. You want things to flow. You want everybody to have enough room. So yeah, and that was the reason for me extending our homeschool room, because we needed more room to do things. Not everybody had the space, the proper space to do things. So yeah. And tells you how to develop your activities and find your material. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just whatever you have. Like you saw, I took things out of our homeschool room and put them on the shelves in the extension room, because those were the things that they were already using for centers. they know, you know, the noise level. It says you can try using music to indicate noise levels. So that's a, you know, that's a good thing. Clean up, that's a big one. And, you know, that centers encourage cleanup time. Because they know at the end of center time or when it's time to rotate them, they are responsible for cleaning up. So that's a big part of why I don't have the problem of, okay, everybody took everything out in school today and now there's a big mess. We have cleanup time. But basically, the reading center, the foundations for the activities in the center are reading books and charts. Picture reading by looking at pictures and making up stories. Pretend reading by telling a familiar story, reading all of the words, listening to tape stories, making tape stories, reading the room, reading the room, making words. And so we do have a lot of books on tape, so we have a lot of, you know, that is the purpose for that. We use that for center time, where the kids can select and they can listen independently to their book on tape. And it says the teacher's role, the students are in the center. The teacher should be blessing books by reading to them, modeling ways to read, listening to the children read, listen to tape stories with children, discussing the stories with children. And it gives you your materials, books, big books, read aloud, blessed books, favorite stories, songs in print, predictable books, classmate predictable books and charts, reading charts, interactive charts. And so anything reading based, wall charts, names, colors, nursery rhymes, cassette tape recorders with headphones. There's CD players. We'll do the same thing. Alphabet puzzles, magnetic letters, sandpaper letters, sponge letters. If you have an overhead projector, that's a good thing. Book storage, you want shelves, you want gutters, you want tubs. Pocket charts, book stands, you want carpets, bean bags, pillows. So that is why we have our bed in the other room. In the other extension room, they sit up there and they read, and also on the alphabet mats on the floor. You just want a comfortable space for them to work through that center, and you want to provide them manipulatives, writing manipulatives, pencil, paper, things like that. Newspapers, magazines, so they can draw, write, and journal, and things like that. And then it helps, you know, it helps with their writing skills. So, and that says pre-kindergarten. And then there are 4 blocks. The writing center is appropriate for a 4-block classroom. So, making books, writing letters, making a newspaper, and writing for real reasons are important writing activities in 4-block classrooms. So, cool. And then you have the home living center, and that is pretty much dramatic play, anything, dolls, kitchen, food, dress up, things like that, things that we would use as adults, that we would give them to use to pretend. And you set that up as a center. You can also use empty containers, empty food containers, and things like that. And have some paper and pencils and things like that set aside so they can learn how to measure and draw and things like that. That is good development, so they can learn how to replicate objects. And you set up a science center, all things related to science, magnets, aquariums are good, or those gallon totes are good. You want to have some little animals and insects and things like that. You want to have like magnifying glasses, flashlights, mirrors, gardening tools, plants. You know, teach them how to grow a plant. You know, they can make experiments in their science center. And you have a math center. You want to have lots of manipulatives, cups, jugs, spoons, containers, timers, dominoes, playing cards, an abacus, sensory tables, sensory bottles, play money, pencils and paper, cubes, pattern blocks, scales. All that kinds of stuff makes for a great math center. Now we don't set it all out at the same time, and you don't have to. There are too many littles around here to have all that stuff out at one time. But you know, throughout the week, I will set up maybe 1 to 2 things pertaining to that center, and we just rotate through the things until everybody's played through them. And then you want to have an art center with all things art, easels, dry erase boards, paint, sponges, paper mache making materials, toilet paper tubes, yarn, pipe cleaners, all that kind of stuff. So you can have an art center. And then you can also set up a woodworking or a construction center, a sensory center, a zoo center, a themed, like a gorilla. This is what it says, a gorilla, or any other animal being studied center. You want to have a music center and a movement center, a puzzles and game center, and that's all incorporated. That stays in our centers on our shelves. We just switch out the puzzles. So month by month, it gives you different books that you can read, and starts like with the first days of school and things like that. Mrs. Bendergarten gets ready for kindergarten. Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. The books on tape. Let's see if there's anything else different. Home Living Center, your back to school magazines, a suggestion for new clothes, leaving a shopping bag for the students to unpack. So, I mean, that's life skills. Community center, hair salon. That means, you know, the girls will, even the boys, have fun, you know, doing things like that. And you can give them some you know, hair things and barrettes and things like that, and some dolls that they can practice on. For the boys, you may want to do some shaving cream and lots of little fun stuff. It's the things that you guys probably already do and don't really think of. You can turn it into a center. So that is pretty much what that is. And of course, we're in October now. It's all about fall and pumpkins and Halloween, even though we don't do Halloween. They get the concept. We don't do holidays. And I'll get into that in another video. But however much, you know, it's, you know, pretty much whatever you have, you can't go wrong. And the thing is, with these centers, we do school all day, you know. Work boxes, I don't know, I see a lot of people do work boxes. They do school, and school is done in, you know, an hour, 2 hours. We can't do that. Yeah. We learn all day long, and sometimes it's 10 o'clock at night and the kids are still trying to finish up in centers, and I don't mind. You know, yeah, I need to get them in bed, but my kids are really night kids. You guys know they night school. So we're, you know, usually start in the afternoon, like around 4. But yeah, they like to learn in detail. I like to explain in detail. We like to have deep discussions on things. So school doesn't happen for us in a matter of a couple of hours. And then the fact that we're learning all day, every day, we're actually fitting more than 1 year, 1 school year, in a calendar year. So yes, they're going to accelerate more than a grade a year, a calendar year, because we are the way we school. And so here we are at a plant center. You may want to bring that out in the spring. A center on Friends, where you would incorporate teddy bears and dolls and things like that. And then there's a water center, something that you can, say for springtime and summertime. There's farm animals. Like I said, I laid it out, but I did not select for some months. I do have a theme, but others are just free, whenever I want to set them out. Sometimes I just go through and pick. What I did was just pick one thing and set it up, and from another month I set up something else. So that leaves for lots of surprise creativity. And then back here we have shape books to give you these additional ideas. And you have these shape books that you can print up. So living and non-living, plants, dinosaurs, weather. Oh yeah, that's another center I didn't go over. There you go, ladybugs. This one is pattern cards related to math, beads, and it gives you instructions down there on how to how to work it. So, and then back here you get the book cited, the references, and let's see if there's anything else back there. Nope, just all of the books, which is also very helpful because you can just go to the back of the book and pull up books that you already have. That's what I suggest doing. Don't go out and purchase. Or the library. That's a great resource. You can go through and select your activities, your centers you want to set up, and then reserve your books at the library. So you'll have your books already. So, and then also in here there's problem solving. If your centers are not as productive as you would like them to be, consider asking yourself the following questions. Are the centers interesting and challenging? And so that's what I mean by sometimes I can, I have to modify things, with the lessons. It just depends on who's doing it because I have different age levels. When did I last change the center activity? If they're getting bored with it, I'll change it up. Do they want more choice or more control? If they want to continue past the 30 or 45 minutes, do I let them? Yes. Are the centers tied to the themes in the classroom or other curriculum areas? So I try to keep them related to what we're doing. That way they can, they're engaged. But not all things are related to everything we're doing. I make sure at least half of the activities in the center are related to what we're doing that week or that day. And are students ready? Am I ready to introduce projects as part of my centers? Projects tend to be more in-depth studies of a topic, with students engaging in a chosen study for a period of time, 1 or more weeks depending on the topic. There are identified stages of project development, topic identification, discussion, fieldwork, representation, investigation, and display. If a student appears to be interested in a given topic or want to be engaged in an investigation of one concept, you may want to consider allowing them to spend several days working on it. So, yes, sometimes we're doing the same centers activities for a week, or 2 weeks, and I may just take away 2 things or 1 thing, and it just depends if they want to play with the animals. They've been in there. Actually, the animals have been in there. Their little animal, what do you call those things? The little figurines. Those things have been in there actually all month, and I let them stay in there because they have all kinds of creativity with that. So I let them stay in there. What else? Sometimes certain books will stay in there. They may want to read the same book over and over, and I will let a particular book stay in there and not change it out. But that's the beauty of doing a center. That way I know that they're actually learning, and they come back to me and they have different questions, and that works for me, rather than sending them to a drawer or their workbox and saying, here, start at number 1, do number 1, 2, 3, then you get a break. They would, that's not for them. It's not for them at all. And I like to, we're more of a hands-on type homeschooling family. So everybody is engaged. Sometimes it is chaotic, but, more or less, I capture their attention within a few minutes, and, they're on to it. So, yeah, and sometimes they will, tell me things that they want for centers. I'll ask them, okay, what do you guys want in your centers this week? And they'll pick out, the things that they want, and that's what we'll study about. So, yeah, and then this one is just kinder unit. This one came with this book as well. I was interested in this one because I have been looking at it for a while, but the seller also had this one. And it's an older book, but pretty much the same thing. September orientation to school, safety, family and pets. So, it gives you a schedule. You break it down: group time, free time, listening to music and reading, block center, field trips, dramatic play center. And it's pretty much themed like a school calendar, Like now we're into fire safety week. Yeah, so that's where that comes in. It gives you songs to sing and your things. It's just not as detailed. Like I said, this is an older book, but you can find them pretty much anywhere. And it gives you group time activities that you can do. And also, centers can also be based on video. You can also watch a video for center time activity, computer time activity, So, and that's October 1st, which we did. This is dairy products, working on food, basically. So, nutrition. And every day you get a different, it's broken down: day 1, day 2, day 3. And you have recipes and things like that. And you get a field trip, October week 2, Columbus Day, which we don't do at all. But we'll skip to the fall activities. So, yeah, I'm looking for a great supplement to what you are doing. This is the way to go. We also have board games in the centers. And of course, they have to do board game, as a team. So there's 2 of them. there are some board games that we have where it's just strictly one person. So, there we go. And I thought I would share these two great books and how I, come up with things, ideas and things like that. Sorry I've held you for this long, but yeah. Let me end this video and I will be back. I have, like I said, I have a whole shelf full of resources I collected over the summer that I haven't hauled. So I'm trying to play catch up. So hope you guys enjoy. Hit me up with your comments, thumbs up. And I'll be back. Bye.